Welcome to Sexuality and Truth with Phil Lees, the podcast where we uncover the realities of youth, sex, and the impact of cultural norms. Today we're tackling a crucial topic: sex education grades 5 to 8. In a world where cultural influences are shaping young minds more than ever, how can parents and faith leaders reclaim their role in guiding the next generation? Join us as we explore practical, biblically grounded strategies to empower families and communities to lead with wisdom, clarity, and conviction. Now, let's get into today's episode.
Sex education in schools. It seems straightforward until you learn that since comprehensive programs were introduced in the 1990s, STI rates have actually increased instead of decreased. Today, we're exploring why this counterintuitive result matters for parents facing crucial decisions about their children's education.
You know what's fascinating about that statistic? It really challenges everything. We thought we knew about sex education effectiveness. How did we get here?
Well, let me break down what's happening in schools right now. There are two main competing approaches: comprehensive sex education, or CSE, which focuses on risk reduction, and sexual risk avoidance, the SRA approach, which emphasizes abstinence. The interesting part is that CSE has become the standard despite some concerning data.
That's really surprising. What exactly does the research show about these approaches?
So, here's where it gets really eye-opening. Long-term studies, both in the US and internationally, show that CSE programs haven't just failed to reduce STI rates, but in some cases, they've been linked to increased sexual activity among teens. And get this, even the goal of increasing consistent condom use hasn't been achieved.
That's exactly the kind of information parents need when making decisions about their children's participation. What options do parents actually have?
Well, here's something many parents don't realize. Schools are required to send notification at least 2 weeks before any sex education begins. But these notices are often incredibly vague, leaving parents with more questions than answers about what their kids will actually learn.
You know what I've heard from several parents in my community? They feel completely overwhelmed by having to make such an important decision with such limited information.
Right. And that's where it gets complicated. While parents can opt their children out of explicit sexual health topics, other related subjects like gender identity or sexual orientation might not be covered under opt-out policies. It's like navigating a complex maze without a map.
So what should parents consider when weighing these decisions?
Let me share 5 crucial questions every parent should ask themselves. First, where will their child go during sex ed if they opt out? Second, are other students opting out too? There's strength in numbers. Third, what might their child hear from peers anyway? Fourth, what messages is their child already exposed to through media and friends? And finally, how strong are their child's values?
Those are such important considerations, especially that last one about values. How can parents effectively communicate their decision to the school?
That's where some really helpful tools come in. Whether parents choose to opt out or cautiously participate, there are template letters available that help explain their position professionally. These letters can address concerns about the curriculum while maintaining a collaborative relationship with the school.
That's such a practical approach. What about parents who decide to send their children to these classes?
Well, those parents should definitely take 3 key steps. First, request detailed schedules and topics in advance. Second, teach their own values beforehand to prepare their children. And third, this is crucial, debrief afterward to discuss what was learned and reinforce family values.
That ongoing dialogue seems absolutely essential for helping children process this information.
Exactly, and here's something interesting we're seeing. Parents who stay actively involved, regardless of their choice, tend to have better outcomes. They're able to shape their child's understanding while maintaining open communication about these sensitive topics.
That makes so much sense. Have you noticed any trends in how different communities are approaching this?
Well, what's fascinating is that we're seeing more parents forming support networks within their communities. They're sharing information, comparing experiences, and even coordinating their approaches. This collective action is actually starting to influence how schools communicate about these programs.
That's really encouraging to hear about parents taking such an active role in shaping these important conversations.
And you know what's particularly interesting? The data shows that when parents are actively engaged in these decisions, their children tend to make better informed choices about their health and relationships, regardless of which educational approach they're exposed to.
That really underscores the importance of parental involvement in these decisions.
Looking ahead, I think we're going to see some significant changes in how sex education is approached in schools. The current data is pushing educators and policymakers to reevaluate these programs, and parent feedback is becoming increasingly influential in shaping these discussions.
That's such an important point about the future of sex education. What final advice would you give to parents facing this decision?
The key is to remember that this isn't just about making a single decision. It's about staying engaged in an ongoing conversation. Parents should feel empowered to ask questions, seek clarification, and maintain open dialogue with both their children and the school. And most importantly, they should trust their instincts about what's best for their child while staying informed about the latest research and approaches.
That's it for today's episode of Sexuality and Truth with Phil Lees. We hope this conversation has encouraged and equipped you with the tools to reclaim a vital role in shaping youth perspectives on sexuality and relationships. Thanks for joining us in this much-needed conversation. If you found this episode helpful, share it with other parents, church leaders, and educators who can benefit from this message. Together, we can make a difference in our children's education and well-being. And before we wrap up, a quick reminder. In the description of this episode, you'll find the links to download the full article, Sex Education Grades 5 to 8, the template letter for parents who wish to participate cautiously agree, and the letter for those who choose to opt their children out, opt out. These resources are designed to help you make informed decisions and communicate clearly and professionally with your child's school. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and all major streaming platforms. For more resources and upcoming events, visit https://peaceontario.com podcast Sexuality and Truth with Phil Lees. Until next time, stay informed, stay strong, and always seek the truth.